Hey y'all, welcome to Night Combos. It's Lovey here. Hubby's downstairs making supper for us. That sounds like I never cook. I actually do cook, y'all. We take turns. But tonight he's making us some cheeseburgers and onion rings. And y'all, he makes the best homemade cheeseburgers. I'm not kidding. He really does. And the last time I was telling y'all he cooked, we seen Toddy in the comments asking what he cooked. He made us steaks and he marinates them overnight. And they're so tender where you don't even need a knife. Like the steak melts in your mouth. But with that, I made twice baked potatoes and a salad. So anyway, just in case y'all are wondering, I figured I would let y'all know that. Okay, sorry. Hubby just heard me recording and decided to holler up the stairs and make it clear that he actually marinates the steaks longer than that. So, yeah, just so y'all know. Alright, because of a post and a comment that Gypsy wrote yesterday on June 9th, talking about it was the anniversary of the unaliving of her mom, the actual date that Dee Dee passed away, it has confused a lot of people. So we're going to look at some stuff that was actually in court and show it to y'all, and y'all let us know y'all's thoughts and opinions on it. And real quick, thank you so much to all of our subscribers that have been with us from the beginning. We truly appreciate every single one of you. And thank you so much to all of our new subscribers. We're like 10 subscribers away from reaching 4,300 subscribers. So our little family continues to grow here and we couldn't be more grateful. So welcome to all of our new subscribers and thank you so much. And if you're not already, please make sure you subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of our videos, all of the things, and we would truly appreciate it so very much. And again, please don't forget to leave your thoughts and opinions about all of this in the comment section down below. So about 4 weeks ago, we did a video talking about this a little bit, and it's called Huge Shocking Evidence on Gypsy. So if y'all haven't seen that video, y'all really should go and watch it, and we'll pin it to the top or link it to the top of the description box of this video so that y'all can watch that one as well, because we cover a lot of stuff in that video too. So just in case, make sure you go and watch that video after y'all finish watching this one. Okay, so first let's look at this post that Gypsy made yesterday on TikTok and on her Instagram account. And on one of the posts, she even put #baby, #2. And I think she's just trying to get the heat off of what she done by going into Salon Centric, because it has really gone viral what she has done, because she had no right to be there and no right to shop there. But I'm not going to get off on a rant on that. But it's made a lot of people think that she's having baby number 2. She's absolutely not. This is a picture from the ultrasound that her and Ken got last year on June the 9th. The exact 9th anniversary of her mom's unaliving. And she didn't even, say, no, I'd rather reschedule it and not have my daughter grow up knowing that her first ultrasound pictures were taken on the anniversary that I unalived her grandmother. No, not Gypsy, no. She went ahead and went through with it because she says it has 2 meanings for her. So on Gypsy's Instagram, she wrote this under her and Ken's picture holding baby Aurora's first sonogram, or her is Gypsy's first sonogram, but you get what I'm saying. The first ultrasound of Aurora. And it says 1 day, 2 meanings. 1 year ago, we saw Aurora for the first time in this sonogram, and my heart has never been the same. You would think it's never been the same. You would think having a child, a baby, a little girl would change someone in so many positive, good ways, but it hasn't, Gypsy. Not in our opinions, anyway. But y'all can let us know what y'all think. She is my light, my joy, my greatest blessing. But today also marks 10 years since the unaliving of my mother, a woman known not for love, but for the abuse she inflicted on me. That pain shaped my life in ways that both led to tragic choices, consequences, and years we both can never get back. I won't pretend she was a good person, and I won't pretend I've been perfect either. But Aurora, she represents a new beginning, a chance to break every cycle, a chance to raise someone with love, truth, and freedom, a chance to give her a life better than what I had and better than my past choices. I may carry the past, but she carries my future, and I pray that who she becomes will be greater than who I was, and greater than the woman who came before me, talking about her mother. Then she wrote hashtag Gypsy Rose Blanchard, hashtag Breaking Cycles, hashtag 10 years later, Healing and Hope, first sonogram, Dee Dee Blanchard. Y'all, she had the nerve to write hashtag Dee Dee Blanchard. Hashtag Love Without Chains. Okay, Gypsy, how long are you going to continue to drag your mother's name through the mud? She literally did everything for you, medically, to try to make you better. Maybe because you were, I don't know, lying and telling her you couldn't feel your legs and couldn't walk. Maybe because your teeth were rotting out because you wouldn't stop sucking Pedialyte out of a baby bottle, with specifically the clear nipple because you didn't like the yellow ones on the bottle. And it rotted your teeth out, even all the way up to the age of 24, or a month away from turning 24 anyway. You were still sucking on a bottle. And we proved to y'all in a separate video that Gypsy really needed the G-tube for feedings, for nutritional purposes, and all of that. And we talked about her salivary glands and all of her medical stuff in a separate video. So not only is Gypsy dragging Dee Dee's name through the mud here and saying that she won't pretend she was a good person, and I won't pretend I've been perfect either, but Aurora, she represents a new beginning, a chance to break every cycle, a chance to raise someone with love, truth, and freedom, a chance to give her a life better than what I had and better than my past choices. Well, Gypsy, you're failing so far at that, at being a mom. Okay, just saying. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. You are. All right? But not only is she doing that to her mom, she's also putting all of this responsibility on her child. You, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, should not be putting all of this responsibility like that on your child. It's not her job to heal you and break all of these cycles and fix you and everything else. If you can even be fixed, you have to do that for yourself on your own and work on yourself, Gypsy, which you've shown time and time again you're not able to do, obviously. But Gypsy, you should feel bad for the way you talk about your mom. You should feel absolutely ashamed for the way you talk about your mom. She did absolutely everything she possibly could for you and more, like any mother would. Yeah, maybe she grifted, maybe she malingered, maybe she done a few cons to get money that she needed to take care of you. Because she kept having to take your daddy, Daddy Rod, to court for child support. But heck, she gave you a great life growing up. And like the jailhouse phone calls that we've let y'all hear some of, What was Gypsy's very first words when she was arrested and finally got in touch with Rod's sister, her aunt? It was, "I'm lost without my mom. Please tell my daddy I'm innocent, that I didn't do any of these things. They're painting me out to be this horrible, bad person on the news and TV, but I didn't do anything. I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I just got caught up with a really bad person." But never did she say anything about being abused by her mom. Never once. Never ever. Not until Mike Stanfield. And he told her to go with continue the poor pitiful me act and continue this little childlike voice and continue this little act. And we're going to go with this Munchausen syndrome by proxy defense. We're going to say that your mom did all of these horrible things to you and made you take medications and made you have procedures and tests and all these surgeries that there is absolutely no record of, no proof of at all whatsoever, period. Dee Dee did not have Munchausen syndrome by proxy. But never once did you mention abuse, Gypsy. You said you were lost without your mom. What were you doing right after the unaliving of your mom? You were talking about her, bragging about all of the accomplishments she had in her life, all of the pageants she was in, and all of that, and all the trophies she had. In every single picture, from the time you are a baby, all the way up until you unalived her, you are smiling so big, having the time of your life with your mom. In every single picture. Not one of them are you crying, are you looking sad, down, upset, nothing. And believe me, when you're growing up, there's going to be pictures of you being upset or mad or pouting or something like that. It's just normal. A child, you're going to end up getting a picture like that of your child at some point or another. When you're trying to get that good family picture and they don't want to or they don't feel like it and they start pouting and they, cross their arms or something and turn their head or they pout or whatever, you end up getting those types of pictures. But not Gypsy. She has all of these wonderful, lovely pictures of smiling, laughing, having a good time with her mom. You should be ashamed, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. You should feel so bad. You shouldn't want to show your face ever again. I know if it was me personally, this couldn't be me personally. But I know that if I was to drag my mom's name through the mud, knowing what she did for me growing up and stuff like that and raising me and all, I would feel so guilty. I would not show my face, Gypsy. Now, we all know that Gypsy Rose filters all of her comments on all of her social media platforms, if she even has her comments turned on, right? Well, her reviewing and filtering the comments, she's seen this comment come through, and to stick with her little narrative that she's got going on, or that she thinks she has going on anyway, pulling the wool over our eyes is what she thinks she's doing, but she's not. And hopefully something can be done about this, but we'll get to that here in just a minute in the video. But look here at this comment that she thought would be a good idea to post on her TikTok. Someone said, "Didn't Nick get there on the 10th?" Because Gypsy posted that it was that June the 9th was the 10th anniversary of the unaliving of her mom, and it was also the 1-year anniversary of seeing Aurora for the first time on a sonogram. So since Gypsy posted that yesterday on June the 9th, this person wrote, "Didn't Nick get there on the 10th? Gypsy Rose Blanchard wrote, "He was in Springfield on the evening of the 9th, and it happened overnight. into the early morning of the 10th. Y'all keep that in mind. Also, Gypsy, I have another question for you. And you can go ahead and use one of your little sock accounts or whatever to reply. I'll know it's you. But, I want to know, who was the one that said they wanted it to happen on the 9th? Who was the one that said that? Oh, that's right. It was you. It was you that said that. Yeah, let's look at that. Okay, y'all try to take yourselves back 10 years ago and imagine what you were doing in the summertime 10 years ago, in the year of 2015. Well, Miss Gypsy Rose here had unalived her mom and had gotten caught for it a few days later at Nick's house in Wisconsin. They were both arrested, brought in on first-degree unaliving charges, and keep in mind, the DA, the district attorney, is a political seat. Also keep in mind, a lot of people seen Gypsy as this very short, because she's only 4'11", very short, and believed her to be a childlike minded person. Dan Patterson, the state prosecuting attorney, wanted to be voted back in. With it being election year and so many people feeling sorry for this right here, this person right here, he dropped her charges down from first-degree unaliving to second-degree unaliving and gave her a sweetheart plea deal of only 8.5 years. Well, 8 years, and then the other 6 months came from her being in jail and stuff like that, waiting to go to court. Now, she didn't have to wait as long to go to court as Nick did. Nick didn't go to court until 2018, 3 years after the crime occurred. But Gypsy knew this. Gypsy was like, oh, I'm getting a plea deal. Everybody feels sorry for me. Okay, I got this. I know how to do this. I'm perfect at this. I'm great at this. I know how to get people to feel sorry for me. I know how to play the childlike, or childlike minded person. I know how to be pitiful acting and all of that. So that's exactly what she did. And she got her sweetheart plea deal. Now, what a lot of people on Gypsy's side, so to speak, like her BFF Bree and the other minions like to say is, well, Nick should have accepted his plea deal too. You have to understand, Nick's plea deal was life with the possibility of parole. He didn't accept that because in Missouri, life equals at least 30 years. In other states, it's 20, 25. Like where we live, it's 25. In Missouri, it's 30 years. Nick didn't understand. Nick truly did not understand. Why is Gypsy only getting 8 years, but I'm going to have to do life? All Nick was hearing was life. Why am I going to have to do life in prison with the possibility of parole? He didn't understand that, and there was no one there to clearly explain this to him properly in the way it should have been explained to him. So basically, and yes, I'm leaving a lot of details out, but I'm just giving you the pertinent details to get through the story. Because a lot of you I know already know this. But Nick didn't understand, so he chose to take his chances in court. He thought that would be better for him. He thought that he would have better chances with the court rather than taking that crazy plea deal. Especially after seeing Gypsy, this girl right here that had manipulated him, cyber bullied him, and conned him for over 2 years to be the fall guy for the unaliving of Dee Dee. So you want to talk about cyberbullying, Gypsy, to deflect what you did at the salon so that because you're hoping not to get in any trouble with that, which I hope you do. I hope you're held accountable as well as the store. I hope you're held accountable right there along with them. But since you want to all of a sudden be this so-called advocate for cyberbullying, how about talk about what you did to Nick for over 2 years and why he is where he is today? Because it's not what you said before, because he had the thoughts that he had, and so he's where he belongs, and he was going there anyway with or without your involvement, like you said in a comment that we showed y'all previously, where she was calling him a psychopath, calling Nick a psychopath. Get that, okay? Because we actually know it was you, Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who was offering your 13-year-old daughter's V-card up to Nick. And you said, oh, well, I'll explain to her why she has to give her V-card to you at 13 years old, and I'll explain to her that you're a vampire and this, that, and the other. Nick didn't have any part of that, and Nick didn't want any part of that. All of that was you, Gypsy, and your sick head that you need to go get therapy, extensive therapy for. Intense psychotherapy, in our opinions. And you're out here doing these, National Donut Day, and living your best life, and having a family. And Kenan, hear this. If you don't hear anything else, hear this. You literally should go and seek out some serious help and therapy before you get any deeper into any type of relationship with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. You really should, not just for your sake, but for your daughter's sake, if you care anything at all about that little girl. Because I'm sure Nick would love to be out here experiencing National Donut Day and having a family and being able to live his best life. Don't forget throughout this video how Ryan has even talked about her childlike voice, Gypsy's childlike voice, and how she knows when exactly to use that voice to get what she wants. And that's exactly what she did in court to get that plea deal. Not to mention, the whole town was feeling sorry for her, so DA Dan Patterson felt the pressure and gave her little sweetheart plea deal. She knows how to play the manipulative con artist person, and not how to play it. She is that. She is a manipulative con artist, in our opinions. But y'all can let us know what y'all think. Even while she was in the interrogation room, y'all, and the investigator had stepped out of the room for a minute, she took her dentures out of her mouth and put them in her pocket. If you watch closely, you'll see it. Then she starts, jumping and looking and listening under the door. She did that to look more childlike. And they came in and said, put your shoes on. We're gonna get you, moving here soon and get you in the jail for the night here soon. And she, okay, doing the little childlike voice. And when he leaves the room again, she puts her dentures back in because she knows that didn't work very well on the interrogator anyway. And after this heinous crime was committed, and in our opinions, we really think Gypsy had a lot of involvement in this, if not the full thing. Because her hands and knuckles, like we've said so many times for months now, were swollen and bruised when she was arrested. She could have been hitting Dee Dee in the back of the head, knocking her out. We don't know. She's never answered as to why her hands were bruised and swollen. But someone had to go down for this crime. D.A. Patterson felt the heat to give her a sweetheart plea deal, so he did, because everyone felt sorry. Well, not everyone, but most of the town felt sorry for her at the time. So he gave her the sweetheart plea deal, but that still left somebody needing to go down for this heinous act or crime, the unaliving of Dee Dee. And that left Nick. So Nick ended up with life without parole. Let's take a look at some evidence, though. So these are 2 text messages sent by Gypsy Rose Blanchard to Nick on May 27th of 2015. And they were sent at 7:44 p.m. and then the one on the right was sent 1 minute later at 7:45 p.m. And this is just an example of how she groomed Nick, how she manipulated and conned Nick, and cyber bullied Nick into being the fall guy. Because again, like we said, our thoughts are she's probably the one that did everything. But when looking at these text messages, make sure you look at the black line right here. Wait a minute. Hold on, let me show y'all. Make sure y'all look at this black line right there for the dates and times. Not this up here, because that's just when the evidence was taken or whatever. Make sure you're looking at the black line for the dates and the times. But Gypsy wrote in this text right here, she wrote, "My feelings won't change, and though I have freakouts," and this is after she had a freakout on Nick, started messaging him on Facebook Messenger like crazy, and he wouldn't answer, so she started texting him because she had freaked out on him and, said that, she was gonna, I forgot exactly, y'all. I don't have it in front of me, but I forgot exactly to a T. But basically, she was gonna do all these certain things to him and hurt him, the worst he's ever been hurt, and all this stuff, saying that kind of thing to him and threatening him, because that was also another one of her tactics. And this time he didn't come running back, "Baby, what's wrong? Why are you talking to me like this?" None of that. He just ignored her. He just ignored her, and she couldn't handle that. She couldn't have that, because in less than a month, she needed her mom unalived. So she couldn't have him ignoring her. So she texted him, "My feelings won't change, and though I have freakouts, I always come back to you, my love. I'm so sorry I scared you." And then she tells him 1 minute later, "I'll give you lots of love in the hotel, baby." And y'all know what she was trying to say by love in all caps. She tried to use the excuse with Nick, and Nick had no, he loved this girl. He would have done anything for her. So he believed everything she said, kind of like Kenan, Knurker, and Ryan a little bit still today. They believe everything she says. Her BFF Bree, they all believe everything that she says simply because she says it, even when they have proof smacking them in the face telling them different. But she told Nick that she had this freak out on him because her mom caught her talking to him online and smashed her HP computer, which we've showed y'all in previous videos from all of the crime scene photos and stuff. We've showed y'all that computer was very much intact and working and was never smashed, didn't have a chip, a crack, a nothing on it. Nothing. Dee Dee never did that. That was just her excuse to Nick, because she had to explain why she freaked out on him, because she couldn't just come out and tell him, "Hey, I'm trying to manipulate you here, so therefore, I freaked out on you as a tactic to use against you." She couldn't tell him that. See, look at that. Dee Dee looking beautiful, Gypsy smiling like this happy little kid that she was. I'm sorry, Dee Dee. I'm so sorry that your daughter did this to you and jabbed you in your own back, in your own home, in your own bed where you should have felt the safest. I'm sorry, but there's so many of us trying to get justice for you and Nick's mom. So we're going to look at some text messages, y'all, between Nick and Gypsy. And this is going to tell y'all everything you need to know. And I want y'all to closely pay attention to dates and times. And then when we get to the last one, I want to know y'all's thoughts. So, okay, Gypsy and Nick had been conversing back and forth because Nick was on the bus, on the Greyhound bus, on his way from Wisconsin to Missouri to Gypsy's, or not to Gypsy's house, but to Missouri where Gypsy lived, to a hotel. Gypsy had been telling Nick, try to get some rest and all of that. And Nick said, nah, I'll just get it at the hotel, sweetie, with a heart emoji. Gypsy, and this was on June 9th, 2015 at 2:40 a.m. Remember, look at the black line at the top. June 9th at 2:40 a.m. And what was that you said, Gypsy, again? Oh, it was that Nick got to your house on June 9th in the early morning hours and it went over into the tent, right? Yeah, that's what you said yesterday in a comment to someone on your own video. Okay. So Nick says, nah, I'll just get it at the hotel because he's on the Greyhound bus at 2:40 a.m. in the early morning hours of June 9th. Okay? On his way to Missouri. Gypsy says, okay, darling, well, I'll check back later. I may sleep for a bit. I think you get to town at 5:15. Nick says, okay, baby, you know I'll keep you updated. Heart. Gypsy, and we're reading left to right. Gypsy on June 9th at 3:04 a.m. says, darling, I don't think the hotel takes check-ins until 11. Talking about 11 a.m. Nick said, update, and this is June 9th at 5:36 in the morning. Nick says, update, I'm in Springfield, baby. Heart, smiley face, heart. Gypsy wrote, yay, with several exclamation marks at 6:19 in the morning. So that was at 6:19 in the morning. On June 9th at 6:52 in the morning, Nick texted Gypsy and said, I'm safe, hun, but I may barely make it to you tomorrow. Y'all see that? I'm safe, hun, but I may barely make it to you tomorrow. I'm under $200. Gypsy at 6:53, 1 minute later, said, you'll make it. How much is a night tomorrow, hun? Now watch how Gypsy flips here. Right here at 6:55 in the morning, she says, unless you want to do it tonight, like the late part of the night. She didn't get an answer, and not even a minute passed. This was at 6:55 a.m., and then back to back, after sending that, she sent a question mark. At 6:58 a.m., Nick texted back and said, $50 of the dollars I should get back, though, because it's a safety deposit, hun. And then he answers her by saying, it all matters on the soonest you want to see me, hun. Okay, this is where I really need y'all to pay attention and really, think about the context of this. At 7:02 a.m., Nick texted, I already talked to her, dear. And in between the last text and this text was Gypsy telling Nick, Your mom has been messaging me. She's worried about you. You need to get in touch with her. So Nick said, I already talked to her, dear. Everything is fine. You need to answer my question, though, honey. Heart. Gypsy wrote back, I will text you. We are doing this tonight, hun. It won't be until later, like in the a.m. times, in the morning times. So get your rest, darling. Gypsy said that on June 9th at 7:03 a.m., saying it won't be until the early morning times. Okay, the early morning times would be after midnight, right? Which would then make it the 10th. This is 7 o'clock in the morning on June 9th that Gypsy is saying this. And then she's telling Nick at this point that this is happening tonight. Like, I'm putting my foot down, this is happening tonight, but later in the early morning hours, which would make it the 10th, because this is 7 a.m., so you think, 17 hours after this, 17 hours later would be June 10th. Gypsy then talks to Nick in text messages about the jabber and the gloves and saying that they have duct tape and she'll pre-cut it. She's all excited about this, right? He never asked her to pre-cut duct tape. He never asked her to do any of that. He did ask for duct tape, yes. That's just the proof, okay? He did ask for duct tape, but Gypsy's all excited. And she's like, oh, I'll even pre-cut it for you, hun. And then here she is on June 9th at 7:31 in the morning, letting Nick know she sleeps on her tummy, talking about her mom, Dee Dee. She sleeps on her tummy, like I said, but she's a light sleeper, hun. And then Gypsy says, the shoot's gonna go down tonight, Ruby said. So this is now the third time that we have heard Gypsy change the plan, and she hasn't changed the plan 3 times, but this is now the third time that she has tried to reiterate, hey, the plans have changed. This is happening tonight. Now she's saying her, quote, evil side, which was Ruby, said that the shoot's gonna go down tonight. Nick texts back at 7:32 a.m. What does she mean by that, dear? And then at 7:36 a.m. Please let me know as soon as you can, hun. At 7:41 a.m. on June 9th still, Nick has still not heard back from Gypsy yet. And he says, okay, dear, I guess she seems to be learning how to deal with him slowly then, heart, possibly talking about his alter ego, Victor. Gypsy replied right back at the same time, 7:41, she replied right back to Nick saying, for motivation's sake, bring your A game, hun. This is life with me on the line. So y'all see how the grooming and the manipulation and all of that is still going on and continuing? Okay, on June 9th at 11:18 p.m., right before 12 noon, this would be noon, Nick texts and says, honey, you'll always look appealing to me with a heart. Gypsy says, I hope so, hun. I'm shaking. I am nervous. I guess it's the if it all goes okay. Boom! Right here. This is the one that's going to get y'all. Gypsy, y'all see, June 10th at 1:08 a.m. So it has now, we were just now right before 12 noon on June 9th, right? Here it is, June 10th at 1:08 a.m., an hour past midnight, so it is now, the date has now changed from June 9th to June 10th. Gypsy text, I know what you mean, hun, ... It's getting close to time. She took her sleep aid pill. Nick writes, at 1:09 a.m., 1 minute later, Okay, baby, I'm trying to calculate the money for the ride there because Gypsy wanted him to take a taxi to her house. Nick asked for her exact address to give to the taxi driver on Volunteer Way, and she sends it to him. And then Nick texted her on June 10th at 1:13 a.m. So this is in the early morning hours, but this is now June 10th. Thank you, sweetheart, with a heart. Gypsy wrote, my house has the ramp, and the front porch ramp is painted white. Nick had not gotten to Gypsy's house yet. Do y'all see this? At 1:14 a.m. on June 10th, Gypsy was texting Nick which house was hers. She had texted him the address, the exact address, down to the zip code and everything. Now she's texting him, my house has the ramp in the front, it's painted white and it's, attached to the front porch. So that proves right there, Nick had not arrived at her house yet. And this was June 10th at 1:14 a.m. Nick was still not at Gypsy's house yet. So what was that you said again, Gypsy, when you got called out about Nick not getting there until the 10th? That's right. You commented back, he was in Springfield on the evening of the night, and it happened overnight into the early morning of the 10th. And you posted this yesterday on June 9th on your Instagram page, saying that it was the 10-year anniversary of your mom's unaliving and the 1-year anniversary of the first time y'all saw Aurora, meaning on a sonogram. Which we all know that's true. We all know that she did go and have an ultrasound done. We showed y'all that in the show and everything. That her own TV show even showed it. That she went for her first ultrasound on June 9th of 2024 last year. So this June 9th would make 1 year since she had that ultrasound done. And 10 years since Dee Dee was unalived. But by who? Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Who? Who unalived your mom? You had swollen, bruised hands when you were arrested. And actually, like Toddy had said in one of her videos, the bruises on Gypsy's knuckles and fingers and hands, they were starting to turn yellow because they had already started healing. They weren't like purple and blue anymore. They were already turning yellow, a lightish green yellow color, because they were already healing. They were arrested only a few days after Nick got there. So what happened, Gypsy? What happened? You care to explain to us, or maybe the police? See, Gypsy's wanting to sit here on her anti-cyberbullying video thinking she's all good and she's all Gucci and everything. And talking about how she's going to be off parole in a little over 2 weeks and thinking she's all good. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, let me let you in on a little information. See, you think you can't be, charged for this crime again because of double jeopardy? No, sweetheart. You can't be charged with the same thing, meaning you can't be charged with second-degree unaliving. They could still get you for manslaughter or, any of those other charges like that. The feds could also step in, look into this case, see all of this, and decide to charge you with first-degree unaliving under dual sovereignty. They could also still come back and charge you with many different things, like hiring someone to unalive your mom, mailing the jabber, the unaliving weapon, and the gloves with the red stuff all over them, your mom's own blood all over them, to Wisconsin over state lines. They could come back and charge you with so many other things. So while you're sitting there thinking you're sitting there on your high horse, girly pop, I'd get it all the way together if I was you. And I'd be shaking in my shoes. Just like you texted Nick, you were nervous and shaking. Yeah, I'd be shaking now too if I was you. Gypsy thinks she's cute and has the wool pulled over everyone's eyes. No, Gypsy, you don't. Even the people that showed up at your book signing, that amount of people, the few people that are actual real accounts that subscribe to you and follow you on social media, even your family members and minions, don't add up to all of the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people who see the truth about you and know the truth about you now. And a lot of them, yeah, they might have believed you at the beginning. We never did. We never felt bad for you. Never did, not once. But a lot of people did, and that's okay, because their eyes are now wide open. They see all these things that you do to bully and harass, and how you act hateful to people, how you make fun of them, how you promote it by doing this stuff right here. And everyone's on to you and their eyes are wide open. So no, it may not be the parole officer that gets you, Gypsy. It may be the actual police, the feds. You know, the ones you wanted to talk about in your cyberbullying video. So again, if I was you, I'd be real scared. I'm just gonna say that. So y'all see that Nick didn't get to Gypsy's house until the late morning, well not the late, but the later early morning hours on June 10th. He wasn't at her house like she wants people to believe in the early mornings of hours on June 9th, leading into the 10th. That's not what happened. But you have admitted your mom was unalived on the 9th. We know for a fact your mom was already deceased on June 9th. But Nick wasn't at your house until June 10th. So what really happened, Gypsy Rose Blanchard? What happened? Don't think it'll never come out, because it will. What are y'all's thoughts and opinions on all of this? What do y'all think about it? Let us know. We can't wait to see what y'all have to say about everything. I hope y'all enjoyed this video without hubby being in it. I hope it cleared some things up and showed y'all some proof and facts that y'all may have been looking for. But please let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And again, if you're not already, please make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, make sure to comment, like I said, all of the things, and we would truly be so grateful. And we'll see y'all in the next one, and we hope y'all have a good night, and God bless. Bye.